Hello folks, Chinte talking. Today we're gonna do the second town tutorial. And the second town tutorial is gonna be about the Warspheres that the Tau Protector Fleet has. We're gonna talk about what's good with this build, what's not so good, and try to bring out a general strategy, how you should use the Warspheres to the best of their abilities. First off, let's take a pros and cons list like we did with the carrier fleet, and we'll see what they're good with. The first pro for the Warspheres are that they are, in my opinion, a brawler ship. They have a large amount of hull points to be a Tau ship, and also have high DPS number with their weapons, which we're going to cover when we go into the fleet editor. I would go as far to say that this is the only really good brawler fleet in the Tau Protector Fleet's arsenal. The second pro for the Warsphere fleet is they are completely morale immune. They aren't morale immune by default, but we will cover how to get them in morale immune in the passives and actives part of this video. This is a great benefit for this fleet, considering how much Tau Protector fleets generally suffer from morale. The third pro for the Tau Warsphere fleet is the high damage output on the regular guns. So if you're not enjoying an ordnance fleet and you just want to brawl, the Warsphere's high damage output will let you do this. The fourth pro with the Warsphere fleet is that they have relatively good boarding. And I'm saying relatively because they are still a Tau fleet, so boarding ain't the main thing, but they have good troop efficiency, which is guaranteed at 2 stacks on the boarding. So in a Tau perspective, they are great boarders. And also they have a 360-degree boarding angle, which is really good when you want to board those ships. Drawbacks of the Warsphere fleet. The first drawback is that this is not a beginner friendly fleet. You need to be level 10 with this fleet to make it work. The reason for this is that the level 10 ability, the watercast diplomacy, is required to actually run it. The second drawback is, without a doubt, the range. The range on the Warsphere's weapons, which is really the only damage they can do, is only 9k without a stance, which means you're going to have a lot of trouble with those kiting fleets and fast moving fleets. And when we're talking about the opponent bringing kiting fleets, we come to the third drawback of the Warspheres. The Warspheres are really slow, which means they are not as good as perhaps a carrier fleet to chase down opponents. Okay, now when we're talking about pros and drawbacks of the Warsphere fleet, let's take a look at the fleet. First of all, you want a light cruiser as your flagship. I'm gonna go over in a moment why you want that light cruiser as your flagship. With the points we can afford 4 Warspheres, and we fill up the rest of the points with Warden escort ship. Remember, always take escorts, no matter what fleet you are, always have escorts in your fleet. Alright, let's take a look at the prot Warspheres. So they have 6 prot double-barreled missile pods with 2 attacks, 20 damage and a 10-second reload time. The reload time is higher than the carrier fleet, but the damage numbers are higher. If we take a look at the speed, it is 120. So they are slow, as I was talking about earlier. And the armor is 83 on all sides. Excellent for a brawler ship. We can't see the shield or hull points right now because it's a bug in this patch, but they are high. Now for the passives, and this is really important. To make the prot Warsphere fleet work, you need to be level 10 with the Tau Protector fleet. The reason for this is the watercast diplomacy, which states as long as the flagship is alive, you cannot suffer mutiny on the Warspheres. And without it, you're gonna lose your Warspheres really fast to mutiny. So you really need the watercast diplomacy to make it work. I cannot stress this enough. You're gonna go ahead and select that. For our second passives, since they are so slow, the Warspheres, I tend to go the experimental thruster manifold. We're gonna go ahead and select that. That brings us the little extra speed we really need. Other things you can take, if you don't want to take the experimental thruster manifold, is the emission dissipator. If you want to get in close without getting detected, or if you want to run away really fast with your light cruiser. Or you can take the strobe field to get that extra dodge while you are charging your enemy. So you have 3 passives to take for that second one. Either strobe field, emission dissipator, or experimental thruster manifold. The really thing, and I'm gonna say it again, the only thing you really need is the watercast diplomacy. The second choice is entirely up to you and your playstyle. For the active part, do not take the experimental railgun shot. This is because the light cruiser can, for some particular reason, not equip it, so it's going to be a waste of an active ability. Do not take it under any circumstances in this fleet. And as usual, do not take the gravity wave force projector. I've explained this in the previous video. It is not good under any circumstances. So what should you take? Well, I highly recommend the repair drones to... So what should you take? Well, I highly recommend the repair drones. The Warspheres are tanky as they are, and with the repair drones they are really hard to kill. So gonna go ahead and select that. And the last choice really depends on how you want to play it. I always recommend the probe for the Tau fleet, but you could go stasis bomb or disruption bomb, or even supercharged void shield to actually keep that light cruiser alive if you are found. But we're gonna go ahead and select the probe. So this is the general actives and passives for a Warsphere fleet. That concludes how you build a Warsphere Tau Protector fleet, and also the reasoning behind the passives and actives you take. Next step we're gonna do is we're gonna play a game against a computer, and I'm gonna show you the general tactics, stances that I use to bring out the maximum DPS of the Warspheres. So we're gonna go ahead and go into a game. So here we are in the battlefield, and we have 4 of our lovely prot Warspheres, and the flagships, light cruiser, and 3 warden escorts. So first thing you want to do, as you want to do with every Tau Protector fleet, is to utilize the first rule of Tau Club, which is always go Montka. Go ahead and select that.
The killing blow brings the enemy's end.
Now we're gonna move these guys on the side a little bit and talk a little about the Warspheres. So, as you can see, the double barrel missile pods do not have that great of a range. How do we use this to our advantage and make them do more damage then? Well, if we go ahead and select the lock-on stance, we're gonna get a lot more range. If you compare those, this one on lock-on and this one on no stance at all, you can see that the range is fairly good. It is 1300 and 500. Or we'll take this one is only 900. So I highly recommend that you go lock-on stance first. Reason because this is you want to change the reload while you are in a brawling range, but to get that first initial damage in, go lock-on stance. Of course, if you're meeting an ordnance heavy fleet, you might want to go brace for impact, but as a general strategy, go lock-on stance. So let's go ahead and move our stuff up and select lock-on stance. So what do we want to do with these guys? Well, first of all, And this is the reason why I go light cruiser. Silent running. So now we have an invisible morale immunity buffer, which is really good. Same things with escorts. We can go ahead and take those in silent running. So now we can take a look at the map. As you can see, we have two fairly close points, and we have a point over there. Since this match is against an AI and I want to showcase the damage output on the Warspheres, we're not really gonna care about the points. But in a general match, do not ignore points. It is stupid. Just take the points. It's part of the game, no matter if you like it or not. Utilize the point system. We're gonna go ahead and put you over here. And there we go. Can do something like this. This is not the optimal setup for the Warsphere, but we want to showcase the damage. So let's go ahead and start. Move these up.
At your orders, Koro.
As you can see, the spheres are really slow.
Shapers say we obey.
Even though we have the manifold to get that extra speed, we are really slow. We're gonna go ahead and speed up so we can actually engage our opponent.
At your orders, Koro.
And if it were a real game, I would stop, capture these points. But we just want to engage now.
The tower shall prosper.
Ah, there comes some ordnance, so we're gonna get identified.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And as I said, you could go brace for impact if you're facing off against an ordnance heavy.
To fight for Tau.
But now we're just gonna showcase. We're gonna engage the left side, so you guys can see.
How may I serve the tower?
Nova cannon. As you can see, only bit down on our shields. The morale loss was kind of. And let's pause the game here. We lose morale, that is true. But that is okay. Because as long as this one is alive, we can never go under 100 morale. So you don't actually need to care about the morale. As long as you know that this one is safe, you don't have to waste encouraging speech. You can just go emergency repairs if you need to repair a system. And that's a really great benefit. Right, we have spotted something over here. We're gonna go ahead and unpause.
Corel, ready.
And scan. You can go ahead, go in.
The prey can't outrun us.
We're gonna take another Nova cannon shot. Don't really care, because we are so tanky, as you can see.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
We have some ordnance coming our way. Bring up these. Never show your flagship. Keep it behind. As you can see, the damage numbers on this is just skyrocketing. And we're still in lock-on stance, so we aren't getting the maximum reload speed. But that light cruiser is going down.
Shapers say we obey.
Gonna move ahead. We're gonna change the reload now to get that extra reload speed, and we're just gonna nuke those down.
Shapers say we obey.
And we lost 600 hull points, and we just nuking that one down. So now we go in a little behind though. Never really show. You can actually just hide this one in a cloud, but I like to utilize my abilities. So we take this one and make sure that they are in range. Buff another Monka buff. And the Cruiser Dominator is gonna go down really fast. And now we can engage the repair drones. Watch out if you want to ram us. Also, we can showcase the boarding. As you can see, we have 360. Using call to arms. So let's see, we have 23 boarding stacks on that guy.
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
You can see
Points.
we have nearly not lost anything on our ships because we repaired a lot. And we are bringing that battleship down. Everything's just going down. We're firing from the front and the side. And it's against 67 armor ship. And we still bring it down. He's capturing all the points, but we're just showcasing, so we don't really care. Change the lock-on stance again. And they get another Montka buff up.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Prot on the move.
And that was a bit. I forgot my escort. Never let your speed go down to the bottom. There we go. Take damage. As you can see, we are slowly bringing it down. Also, he has spotted our flagship. You really need to be careful with that flagship. If it goes down, the entire strategy fails. If that one would die, we're gonna lose that one, and probably that one also. That's how much morale hit we're gonna take on if the flagship dies.
The strategic points.
Next ship is down, and we can go ahead and go down there.
Gravitic drive engaged.
Gonna bring our escorts so we can Montka buff them.
We serve the Korvacha.
That was just an escort.
It will be so.
So that should be the last ship down there.
Prot here to fight for Tau.
Gonna speed down.
Aircraft ready for orders.
Oh, we're ramming ourselves. It's not good.
Relocating Warsphere.
Should have managed that one better.
Papers say we obey.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
Go.
The Imperials guide us. Drones have identified an enemy target.
Prot here to fight for Tau. Papers say we obey.
Now, if you're up against a player, he's probably just gonna outrun you if you do it like this. Which is, as I
The
said
enemy has
previously, one of the
accumulated
negative
50%
side with
of
this fleet.
strategic points.
But an AI doesn't really run away. But if a player wants to brawl you, the Warspheres are really good at it. So they're probably gonna take... You're gonna be caught off surprise.
Reload now.
As we can see, it's just melting down. This is not fast forward, it's not slow down, it's just a regular game pace. And you can see, we're barely taking any damage.
Prot here.
And his battlecruiser is just melting. There we go. The general tactics and thinking about how you should play with the Warspheres. So, what should you be thinking about if you're playing against a player? Well, you can't really chase as good as you can with the carrier fleet, so watch out for those kiting fleets. You are better suited to be stationary in the high density of the map, which has the most points. And if he wants to brawl you, then you happily open the door, invite him for tea, and have a blast, so to speak. But be careful for the kiting fleets. The Warsphere fleet is fun when it comes to brawling, and we have a brawling meta now, in my opinion. So you might have a lot of fun with this fleet. But as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, you need to be level 10, so this is not a beginner-friendly fleet. If you're looking for a beginner-friendly fleet, I highly recommend the Care fleet instead. This is because of the morale mechanic. And that concludes my tutorial about the Warsphere fleet. If you liked this video, please tell me so I know if I'm doing something right. If you don't like this video, please tell me in a good manner how I should improve. If you would like to see more Tau material, tell me. I want to know things. I want to improve myself as a content creator. If you want to see another fleet, tell me so I may play with them and see what tactics work. I also have a request for you watching the video. If you're playing Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 and you're feeling like whatever I do, I can't seem to get it right, I'm going to link a OneDrive in the channel down below and also in my stream channel. I'm going to link the stream, of course, also. Where you can send in your recordings of your games and I can see and I can comment it. I'm not an evil guy. I won't break down and say that you are worthless at the game. I will not that. I want to help you improve. So you're free. Feel free to post things in the OneDrive with the videos or something like that, and I will comment your performance in a nice manner. And that's all, folks. So next thing that's gonna happen is a demigod tutorial, which is the last viable fleet for the Tau protectors. So I hope you have a pleasant day, night, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. This is Chinte. Thank you from me.